Please open your Bibles to Psalm 139 or get your computer out or your phone and do the little I app, whatever, for the Bible. Anyway, you want to do it. Alright, so we're going to begin by studying Psalm 139, talking about God. That He knows us and that He is with us. Many times in our lives, things happen and they make us wonder where God is. Is He still with us? Does He know what is going on around us? This crazy world that we live in where it just seems like every morning you turn the news on and something worse has happened than the day before. Sometimes it feels like He's not listening or doesn't care about us. Psalm 139 is a passage that shows us that the opposite of all of our doubts and wonderings. It's important for us to get a grasp on this psalm and see what it's teaching us about God. Now, the book of Psalms itself is a collection of poems and songs and outpourings of the heart from the heart to God from various authors of the Old Testament, David being one of them, King David, as well as others. This one we know was written by David. We don't know if it was written before he became king or after. Any time would have worked. He had plenty of trials and problems throughout his life, so we know that we could have been written at any time. But we know it was when he was meditating on God. Something in him was pouring out to God. So let's start in verse 1. It says, O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit down, when I stand up. You know every thought, even when far away. Now, obviously, he's never far away, but you know how our thoughts are far off. Kind of overly, dreaming, daydreaming, as it were. Night dreaming or afternoon dreaming or dreaming while you're trying to teach. No, that happens sometimes. Anyway, these two verses tell us how deeply God knows us. He doesn't have to ask us how we are doing. He doesn't have to ask us what we are thinking. He already knows. When I go up to a friend and ask them how they are, there's no way, unless God gives me divine knowledge, that I'm going to know how my friend is or what's going on in their head. This passage speaks of God knowing all things. That means He can't learn or be disappointed by anything we say or do or think. He's also everywhere. Does that scare you at all? Even not just a little bit? Be honest. It does me a little, because we're not perfect. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure I really want God to know every thought, because they're not always the best thoughts. And those are the thoughts that you need to turn over to Him. But you ever wonder, I mean, it makes me wonder how He could love me despite knowing everything, But you know what? He does. He also knows when we give Him praise and when we give Him honor. He hears silent whispers of hope and faith that we have inside of us. All of those things. So moving on to verse 3. You chart the path in me. Tell me where to stop and rest. So He does tell us when to stop and rest. I mean, you want to go, 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 go. Sometimes God just says lay down and rest. Remember when Elijah, the prophet, was in such distress and despair, he actually said, Lord, just kill me now. I'm done. And God said, you need to eat and take a nap. That was it. God said, stop. I've got this. You take a nap. Get something to eat and take a nap. That's what He said to Elijah. And it's like, that's sometimes what we need to hear too. He charts the path. He knows where we're going. He knows every moment of where we are. He knows our address. I heard something last Sunday, actually, that spoke right to this when we were in our Bible study, that some pastor, minister, anyone, whoever he was traveling on the road, on a road trip. And as he was pulled up to the diner where his family was going, he went outside to get something out of the car or whatever, and the payphone over here just started randomly ringing. Payphone, so this was probably a while ago. But anyway, he answered the phone, and the lady on the other end said, is this so-and-so, And, well, this is a long-distance phone call for so-and-so. I was like, yeah, that's me, And the lady on the other end was apparently going to commit suicide, and she had asked God for just something, anything to hold on to, and she was given this random phone number to call. So she called this random phone number, and this guy answered the phone. And when he's done, comforting her and just telling her that it'll be okay and all that, he goes back inside and to his family who was waiting on him in the diner and says, "Wow, God knows where I am." It's so cool. So we see that God knows where we are. We know He knows where we're headed. I often sit and wonder, where am I going? Usually while I'm driving. Now, where will I be? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? We all do that. He doesn't even have to wonder. He already knows where we're going. And I love that about him. I only wish he would clue me in a little bit more on it. Because, really, being part of the mystery, though, is discovering what is in store. That's the mystery of it. You both precede and follow me. You placed your hand of blessing on my head. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too great for me to know. I can never escape from your spirit. I can never get away from your presence. Oh, if I go up to heaven, you are there. If I go down to the place of the dead, you are there. If I ride on the wings of the morning, dwell on the farthest oceans, even there your hand will guide me, and your strength will support me. If I could ask the darkness to hide me, and the light around to become night, but even in the darkness I cannot hide from you. To you night shines as bright as day. Darkness and light are both alike to you. This passage can be either incredibly wonderful and give us joy, or it can be a little terrifying if we've done something wrong and are trying to conceal it. Considering what has been said before about God knowing our thoughts, it makes sense that we couldn't get away from him or hide from him. Now, it can be a wonderful feeling if you ever feel alone or abandoned, or like no one in the world really wants you there and no one will notice if you're gone. This passage is for you, because it tells us that God is pursuing us to the very corners of the earth, to go as far as we go. He is already there. Already there. The passage goes on. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the darkness of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life recorded in your book. Every moment laid out before a single day had passed. How precious are your thoughts of me. Oh God, they are innumerable. I can't even count them as they are innumerable like the grains of sand. I wake up in the morning and you are still with me. That's amazing. Did you ever have a wonderful dream that you absolutely hated when you woke up and the dream went away? I'll tell you this, God is more wonderful than your most exhilarating dreams, and nothing, not even the coming of the morning, will make it go away, can make him go. He made us individually, and I like that thought because it means that no matter what happens, he meant to make me as I am. He designed us in the womb. It was his fingerprints that created each cell of our body. He is the glue that holds our DNA together. It's awesome. And he thinks about us more than we could imagine. More than every breath we can breathe in a lifetime. More than the stars in the sky, more than the drops of rain. His thoughts of us are precious. Thoughts that cause thoughts because he loves us. The last part of the psalm is important in a day when terror seems to be running amok. The psalmist is as honest as can be. You would be too after composing how much God knows every thought about you and everything that's going on inside. How can you really fake God out? He already knows the truth. Now, are we not being a little silly to think we can hide something from him? That even after the writer vents about the enemy, he asks God to search his heart. Oh God, if only you would destroy the wicked. Get out of my life, you murderers. They blaspheme you. Your enemies take your name in vain, O Lord. Shouldn't I hate those who hate you? Shouldn't I despise those who resist you? Yes, I hate them with complete hatred, for your enemies are my enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts. Point out everything in me that offends you. That's a serious prayer right there. And lead me to everlasting life. As the psalm comes to a close, the writer's pouring out his heart to God. He hates those who sin against God and in turn asks God to point out every sin that's in himself. We need to do the same thing. What in our lives is offending him? As people who go under the banner of a godly institution, would it not be as good for us to examine our hearts to see if we are blaspheming, if we are not proclaiming the name of the Lord correctly? It says, do not take the name of the Lord in vain. That means you are a servant of him. You are owning the shield with his name on you at all times. People look at you and say, that must be what God is like. Like it or not, that's how they roll. That's how the world works. So I'll leave you with this thought. I myself could pray this prayer as well as each of us. Each of us could have something to deal with daily with God. He knows we don't like our sin. He knows we will sin. He knows we want to follow him since he knows already what we're going through in our hearts. I feel it would be good to remember this Psalm 139 next time we pray. Good night and God bless.